Hey everyone, what's up? I know I should have done this basically when I first got the system, but I kind of wanted to wait a little bit and see what the system really does, and just let things happen as they do. Um, and that is, as you can probably see down below, or you can see above. I'm here to kind of give a bit of a review, if you will, on the PlayStation 4. Now, I don't have an Xbox One yet, although I might consider it down the line. It's like they say, you can't have one system without the other. So, I might end up getting an Xbox One down the line. Not saying when or where, but it might happen. Just saying. Um, Although I do want to talk about the PlayStation 4. Now, I got this sort of a early Christmas gift for myself back in December. Sort of a reward for myself getting, being with the job as long as I was. And, you know, just like I did with this camera, I knew this is basically stuff I reward myself with to kind of say, hey, look what you can do, look what you can achieve now, look what you're able to get when you work for it, when you work hard and everything, you're rewarded in the end. And ironically, as far as I know, um, I'm the only one in my family right now that has a PS4, and I think that goes for all my relatives. I mean, me, my sister's families, we all have Wii U's, and I think some of my relatives have them too. But I think I'm one of the first, possibly, in the entire family to have a PS4. And I'm very grateful, I'm thankful to God for that. Uh, but I want to, like I said, give my review, kind of a little bit of an overview on the PS4. Now, the one thing I think, I mean, pretty much anybody that's reviewed the PS4 already has told you about is it's definitely a huge improvement over the PS3. I mean, if you have a PS3, a lot of people look at that and they said they've had problems and stuff, but obviously the one thing they've always said is that graphic-wise it was always superior to the 360. The reason being is just like with its successor. Just like with its successor, a lot of the games were placed on Blu-ray disc. They were not, compact disc like what you would have with the 360 or even the Nintendo Wii. They were all Blu-ray discs. So that always kind of gave that always gave that advantage to Sony and the PlayStation 3, which is why a lot of people would always say, you should get a PlayStation 3. It's a good system. And I've thought about it, and perhaps down the line I might even obtain that as well. But right now I'm perfectly happy with the PS4. It's a great system, and the graphics are just superior in so many ways, just unbelievable. Now, I know there are some games that, look at Angry Joe, and I do recommend, if you've not seen Angry Joe's show, check him out. He is great. He is just a tremendous reviewer. He does a lot of things, from reviews, let's plays, vlogs, impressions, and stuff like that. So, check him out. He's worth being a fan of, worth being a subscriber of. And, but yeah, there are some games that he has pointed out, in his opinion, that have not really hit a home run, if you know what I mean, when it comes to the PS4. Now, there are some games that I'm definitely going to be obtaining besides the two I have in my hand and the one I have downloaded on my system. Of course, the two I have in my hand are the first two physical ones I have, And the other one that I have, I got courtesy of a PlayStation gift card I got for Christmas from my nephew who's in the Navy. His family, my second older sister's family, gave me a PS4 PlayStation card to, get stuff with, and I was able to get a Madden 25. That was the only real one I could afford. I mean, I could have gotten a 15, but I went with 25, and it's just as good. Maybe it doesn't have as many features as 15 does. I mean, obviously 15 has expanded on, where you can move your team to, and perhaps they become a little bit more lenient as to what teams you could actually move without having to worry what position they're ranked at when it comes to, like, merchandise and sales and stuff like that. So hopefully that's been improved on. I haven't checked that out yet, but I will. But besides that, like I said, the two games that I did get were 2K15 and Injustice: Gods Among Us, with which you might remember I did get for the Xbox 360. Now, I will say this: if you've not, I will say this: when you see two different versions of these games, we do know there's a 360 and a PS3 version of 2K15, which is basically a remake, basically an updated version of 2K14 with some of what you get in here. You'll see a huge difference in graphics, there's no doubt about it. But another thing as well, when it comes to certain games on the PS4, and I'm sure this is the same with the Xbox One, is sometimes it'll be a different version of the game. It'll be a version that it's similar, it's got, similar things that you're used to, but it'll be different in other aspects. Like, there will be certain things that you're used to seeing in the previous versions that you'll get in the previous gen versions, in the 360 and PS3 versions of a game, that will be taken out of the next gen versions because they want to kind of show off more of what that version's installment of the game can do, or basically what they can do with that version of their installment of the game. 2K15 is one of those games that takes a lot, takes certain things out, like the divas. The creator divas are out, the creator championships out, creator arenas out. Those are all out of there. Those are some of the things out of there. The roster is reduced from 100 to just 25. And that's a huge significance. That's like 75%. That's basically 75% of custom-made roster just gone, obliterated. In this version. And again, it's to show the graphic capabilities of this game. They do substitute it with a micro. They do substitute it with my career mode, which is a pretty decent career mode because it allows you to go from basically rookie to when you're starting out at the performance center, all the way up to your last match. And this goes beyond years and years and years. I mean, it could start out in 2015, and this thing will take you 10, 15 years into the future, and you'll not change a bit, but it'll just go by years and years and years until you have your last match. And your last match will be against somebody that was in your position, 10, 15 years prior, according to the game. But besides that, the PS4 is definitely a huge improvement when it comes to graphic capabilities. Now, unfortunately, as a lot of you know, I don't have an HD television, but what I do have is something for a lot of people that don't have an HD television in their room yet, or in their possession, or in the area, or whatever room you may have, your gaming room or whatever. If you don't have an HD television in there just yet, my recommendation is getting an HDMI converter, or an HDMI whatever this thing is called. Let me see for a second. I think the name's on here or something. Well, it's an HDMI input. It's basically like it's basically an HDMI selector. So my suggestion is to get one of those. The one I'm using is from is from GE, and I'm sure there are other brands out there that have a similar product. But I'm using a General Electronics GE version, and what this allows you to do is basically like with the audio video selectors that you see at the stores. It allows you to switch with one button, in the middle, I think, instead of like 4 or 5. It allows you to switch between the games. It allows you to, not games, but it allows you to switch between your HDMI devices. Like, for example, I have a Blu-ray player and my PS4, so I have to switch in between sometimes to watch something. Now, I know the PS4 is a Blu-ray player as well, but my recommendation on that is you could use it to watch Blu-rays, but I'd rather just use it for gaming. It's a lot safer and it's a lot easier. Not saying that it doesn't play Blu-rays very well, it does. I just don't want a chance of getting, damaged or something like that, because it's basically what it looks like to me is it's got to basically process, okay, this is not a Blu-ray game disc, this is a Blu-ray movie disc. So it's got to do stuff like that. So I'd rather just use the PS4 for gaming, and I'm sure a lot of you would agree with that. But my suggestion is get a GE HDMI selector. Like I said, you can find these at Walmart, Target, Kmart, wherever. You can find, like I say, different brand versions. They should all work the same. And another thing you would need as well is an HDMI to AV converter is what you would need. You would basically need. Let me get the box here, for example. It's not in here, but I have the box. Hold on for a sec. Oh no, this is the charger. I know I have the box. Oh yeah, the box is below it. Got to do a lot of cleaning in the next few weeks. Ugh, a little dusted, but I would recommend getting something like this. This on Amazon was probably the most highly recommended one they had. It had 5 stars and everything. This is the eTech City HD video converter. And basically what this does is, what this does, I'm trying to see if there's anything else in here. Okay, there's an extra USB cord, just in case, I guess, so you could connect it maybe to your computer or something down the line. But basically, what this is, or is that the USB cord that came with the HDMI selector? I'm not really sure. But basically, what this is, it basically there's 2 different versions of this. Let me explain this. And I know I'm probably getting a little off topic, but this is to help anybody that has a PS4 or is planning to get a PS4 or an Xbox One, but you don't have an HD TV yet. Here's the situation. Basically, what this does is it allows you to connect. Like I said, there's 2 different versions first. One version will convert your audio video to HDMI. So let's say you have. So let's say if you have an Xbox 360, an original one or a newer one or whatever, and you're using audio video output or composite, and you don't have an HDMI cable, but you want to play this in full HD. You want to play it in full 1080p. There's a version out there also by eTech City and a few other brands that will allow you to connect your Xbox or your audio video components to it, as well as use the HDMI cable that I think they provide with it, or you have to buy on your own. And when you do that, what it does is it'll convert the signal to your television. It'll send a converted signal to your television, so that instead of playing like a square box, if you will, just like a boxed out screen or something, you'll get an HDMI 1080p or 720 output signal instead. The same can be said with this. This is basically what this does, but in reverse. Instead, what you do is you connect your audio video cables just like the other one, but like I said, this works the other way around. I know that sounds confusing, but let me explain. Just like the version I mentioned that takes audio video signals and converts them to HDMI 1080p high definition signals to be played on a high definition television, this version here does the exact opposite, and it converts your HDMI signals to audio video signals. So basically you can play your PS4 games, or you can watch your Blu-ray movies on your regular television in standard standard 480p signal. In a 480p, basically a standard television signal, an SD signal, basically. You'll be able to do that. Now with PlayStation, though, with the PS4, you have an option of either doing that or looking at it in 1080p. Now the 1080p still plays well, except like some of the pictures a little bit smaller. Well, not smaller, but the wording in the pictures, like if you're doing a fighting game like Injustice or the upcoming Mortal Kombat, the wording, like the name of the characters and the meters, will look a little smaller. But if you go and you convert it and keep it like at 480p or 480i, whatever it is, then you will get a bigger picture. Then not only will you get a regular sized picture, just like you would do with an Xbox 360, but you will also get, the wording will be a little bit bigger. Now, true, some of the wording, maybe some of the power meters and all that might be a little to the side, to where they'll be like, the edge of them will almost be, to where some of them will be kind of cut off at the side, if you will. But in the end, it's going to be worth it. Now, this does cost about, I think, $39, I believe, but it's worth it in the end, because if you want to have that HDMI signal, if you want to have that high definition signal, then this will definitely give it to you in the end. Like I said, I know that sounds confusing, but that's basically what the eTech City thing does. Is it takes your HDMI cable, HDMI signal for, like you say, your Blu-ray or your PS4 or even your Xbox One and maybe even your Wii U, and it converts them into an audio video signal that lets you play and watch the games, or play your games or watch your Blu-rays on your regular television, on your regular flat screen television. Like this is a flat screen, not an HD screen, but this is a flat screen television. Let me show you so that you guys are not confused a little bit. Let me just move this for a second. But it will allow you to play your PS4 or your Xbox One or even your Wii U on that kind of a television without having to worry about having a high-def television until you can afford to get one. Now, I'm not saying they aren't cheap to get. I mean, they're pretty much down in price. But still, it's worth getting, especially like if you have a setup like I do and you don't want to have